CEO of Impact Branding and Design. We are an inbound marketing agency. We're located in Wallingford, Connecticut, and we are a HubSpot partner agency. We work with clients to help them achieve their digital and online marketing goals, whether it be increasing their awareness, generating more leads, generating revenue, or retaining accounts and growing accounts, all through digital marketing efforts. So Impact, it's we have our core values. One of our core values here is helpfulness. So as we look at what we're doing in terms of content, what we're doing in terms of our website, it's all about helping people. So I figure one of the best ways I can do that in terms of creating a really good content offer for our own marketing, but the best way I can do that to help people is to do a lot more video content, a lot more interactive content where I can help people. And Ask Me Anything seems to be a natural fit. So that's why we put this together. We're already doing our website throwdowns. We do that on a monthly basis. And so we're hoping to start this series and make this either a monthly series, and if it goes well, maybe even more. So this event came together very quickly. So full disclaimer, we don't have everything figured out, and we're using Google Hangouts the first time. So consider this a beta run. Hopefully everything goes nice and smooth, and it's a great event. But we're going to learn from this, and we'd like some follow-up after this as well, and see if we could find ways to make this better and more helpful for everyone. This will be recorded, and it will be available afterwards as well. So if you have to jet out for any reason and you don't want to miss the rest of it, we'll make sure that we get that out to everybody following up after this event. All right, so how to participate today. There really are 3 ways to participate. We already have some people that are live that were invited in. They are going to be on camera and ask their question and dialogue with me. So that's great and that's exciting. That's one of the ways to do that. You still have time to do that. So if you have a Google account and you want to be live on the webcam and ask your questions, dialogue with me, make sure I get your email address. Probably the best way to do that is through the questions and answers form. Or you can message me on Twitter, and I can add you in as well. Speaking of Twitter, I'm using the hashtag Impact AMA, so you can ask questions there, and I'll be watching that throughout the broadcast. There's also, if you are using the Google Hangouts app, there is a questions and answers app, and that's the best place to ask your questions. I'll be monitoring that very, very closely, and in between dialoguing, I'll use those and I'll answer those questions. Also another place where you can submit your email address, and I can invite you in if you want to dialogue live with me. And the other way is just to watch it, and so I'm sure there's a lot of people already watching it either on YouTube or via our landing page embedded. So that's the other way. You don't have to participate, you don't have to ask questions. More questions the better, it makes it a better event for everyone, but you can just watch it live there. Awesome. So the last thing is that if you want to reach out to me after this, so if you say you want to have a more personalized Ask Me Anything, or just want to have a conversation, on our website, impactbnd.com, there's a button up in the upper right-hand corner says Talk to Us. Fill out that form, mention that you were on this Ask Me Anything, you just want to have a conversation with me, and we'll set up a time to talk. So we're going to dig right into this. Again, consider this beta mode. So if I mess up for any reason, give me a break. But let's just jump right into it and make it fun. And the first person I'm going to open this up to is Cameron. He was the first one here. So Cameron, I'm going to show you in the broadcast. And good afternoon. How are you? Oh, hang on. You are still on mute, I think. How do I unmute you? It might be on your end. There we go. There you are. Good afternoon, Cameron. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Although it's still morning here.
Still morning. Where are you located?
San Francisco.
Oh, very cool. Beautiful. Great. So what questions do you have?
Perhaps I'm sort of a little behind some of the other people, but I just basically wanted to find out what are the most efficient ways to try and bring more people to our website and
Sure.
get leads, basically. For us, a little background, we are a specialized staffing company. We specialize in staffing creative talent.
Okay.
And the most important thing for us is to get into a conversation with our customers.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to purchase our services online. So we need to use the internet as a casting net to bring them in order to get leads so that we can have a conversation.
Awesome.
That's what
So
we do.
when you say customers, I'm assuming that being a staffing firm, you have the two aspects. You're trying to attract people that are looking for positions, so the creative talent that want to get placed, and you're also trying to attract people that are going to hire a staffing agency.
Absolutely right. So
Okay.
we are the finding talent is a much easier job
Okay.
than finding clients. So
Finding clients.
while we certainly need to do both,
Mm-hmm.
there is one that is a lot higher in our priority list than the other.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, I think about my own experiences, and I've hired a lot of people, a lot of creative talent. So, whenever we think about inbound marketing, we always think, all right, you got to start with the end, the end user, and have them, persona centric, have them top of mind all the time. So this is actually easy for me because I really am your target persona. So I can kind of talk as if, I kind of know what I would be attracted to and not.
Sure.
And I think one of the hardest things is really just hiring. And I don't know if all small businesses or all creative firms have that figured out yet. It's very hard. And one thing I do know is, especially in this industry, there's a lot of turnover going on. We've lost some talent. It's been hard to retain some talent here. I know some of the other agents that we work with are very, very similar in that area. So knowing that, that's where you can kind of come in and start being a somebody that again, very helpful, like what we're doing today. If you were to do some kind of ask me anything or have some kind of great content like this around how to retain your top creative talent or how to attract the right talent and what your careers page needs to look like, and start really being helpful, coming up with content along those lines. It could be blog articles, it could be videos, it could be infographics. That's going to be your real foundation. Now, you also want to make sure you're getting that into the hands of the right people. So just putting it on your site will be good, and you're kind of hoping that people will find it through organic channels, or that person with a big network just happens to find it and share it for you, which is the spirit of inbound marketing. That does happen. But you might want to look at other ways to get your voice on other channels, and that's probably where you get the quickest results. So if you can either build relationships with publishers or trade publications or other associations that have a larger network, and you can create content for them that's helpful for their audience, that can be shared and they're willing to share, and maybe that can even lead to more in-person type content, where it might be a seminar or some kind of offering that way. That's probably how you can use digital channels to get your further, the most reach. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay, good. Are you doing any of that right now?
So yeah, the one part that we aren't is what you sort of covered at the end. What we are doing is we do create a lot of content to help our audience.
Okay.
Specifically, just like what you were talking about, how to retain top talent, how to attract top talent. We are doing all of that. We obviously blog it. We use the different social networks, including LinkedIn, Facebook, or, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting some traction there. What we haven't done, which is a good idea on your part, and I have to sort of investigate, is with trade publications. I mean, we've done it a little bit. We've had some advertising, and but not really creating original content for the publications.
Mm-hmm.
That is something at least to consider. I mean, we are a smaller company in comparison to larger giants that we fight a good fight against. Yeah. So we have limitations from a budget standpoint on occasions. But having said that, this is the greatest, our internet is the greatest equalizer of small companies versus large, so I like that.
Well, the other thing to think about too is I'm sure you've already done this work. You mentioned that there's other giants that are out there, and I think you have to make sure you document what your key differentiators are and have at least 3 very good, strong key differentiators, and use that in your content as well. That's how you're going to compete against the giants. So, let me ask you. I'll turn it back around. What are the things that make you different than maybe some of the larger players out there?
I think first and foremost, a differentiator for us is that when, just as when you're hiring creative, it's reasonably simple to find someone who on paper has the skill sets that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. But the real art to it is making sure that the chemistry is right. Mm-hmm. So, certainly you can say this person has to be a graphic designer with the following skills, mm-hmm. and you might find 10 people, but there's really only 2 people who can really fit into that job. And that's where we have a differentiator. We're not a sort of a factory that's just sending out, here are 10 resumes that fit the job skills that you're looking for, mm-hmm. but actually, you happen to be a jazz music label and you need a graphic designer to do CD covers, and this person is not only a graphic designer but happens to be a jazz musician as well. Mm. That way we know the fit is going to be a lot stronger than whatever. I mean, that's just to illustrate the point, but that's where we really have this sort of boutique style of knowing our talent intimately, yeah. and making the match, as opposed to just throwing out a bunch of resumes.
Well, one thing that's really exciting about that is if you can brand your methodology and give it a name, and if it's 7 steps or something around that could be a whole great piece of content that you put out, whether it be a webinar or a video, and you're training people on how to use this methodology, and that's the way you're supposed to be doing that. Right. That's a great way to get your differentiator out there. I think you're on the right track. I think you're doing a lot of the right things. I think just getting the name out there more and getting in front of more people, and the quickest way of doing that is use your network and use your associations and create content specifically for them. So, good. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Thank you.
Good. All right, so I'm going to switch over here. I'm going to put you back on, I'll hide you for a little bit. If you want to ask another question, just use the questions and answers, Cameron, and I can pull you back up.
Thank you.
You got it. Great. All right, so we have some more questions here. Andrea Funk, she asked, I've been hearing that blogging should be once a month, and that we should, and we need to be promoting the heck out of it. So yes, blogging maybe at least once a month. I think the more you do it, the better it is. For us here at Impact, we try to do at least 2 posts a day. And the simplest and easiest way to think about that is every blog article you create is obviously optimized around some kind of keyword term, which is a page in the search results that you have. And the more pages you have for those different keyword terms, the more likely you are to get found. So blogging and getting found in organic SEO, it's really a numbers game. Obviously, there's other factors play into it. But that's the simplest thing any small business could do is create as many blog articles as you possibly can around as many keyword titles that you want to be ranking for. And if you create really, really good long-form, unique content that is extremely helpful and people enjoy and read, it might get shared, might get links to it, and again, it's still a numbers game, but that gives you SEO authority, and all your pages will rank higher. And if you have a lot of pages, a lot of articles out there for different terms, overall you're going to start seeing organic traffic go up and up and up and up every month. So that's the way we look at it here at Impact. We try to create 2 articles a day. We have, about 25 people in our organization right now. Everyone's creating content. Our developers are creating content around development. Our creatives are creating content around creatives or creative work, and they're making infographics and using their talents to create content in different ways. So everyone here is creating the best content they possibly can. And again, it's a numbers game. We're creating a lot of it. So my recommendation for you is to, once a month is probably not going to be enough if you really want to compete. I try to say, twice a week. If that's hard for you, there's a lot of hacks at creating content, and certainly we could follow up and talk about some of the hacks if that's what you guys want to talk about. That's usually the hardest part. I think most people tend to understand that you need to create a lot of content these days, but what is that number and what's right for you? And we could talk through that a little bit. So I'm going to dismiss that question. And I think that one is done here too. Just a reminder for everyone, if you want to ask questions, the best way to do that is to either use the hashtag Impact AMA. It's right behind me here, or to use the questions and answers tool right here and join me. That's what Andrew is doing. And let's see, another question she had here as well. Follow up. She's talking about link building. So I touched on that just a little bit. The best way to really get really strong links, there's a couple different tactics if you want to do it really the right way. Number of links kind of matters, doesn't really matter as much anymore. It's more about good, strong, quality links and having a lot of good, strong, quality links. So things like guest blogging is a phenomenal way to get good, strong, quality links. So for example, Impact, we do a lot of guest blogging on HubSpot. So that gives us good links that give us SEO authority, but also drives traffic and leads for us. So finding opportunities like that in your industry will be good. And the other way of really getting strong links is just creating, again, really strong, remarkable content that people will want to link to. Another great example here at Impact that's worked for us in the past is when we were learning inbound marketing, 4.5 years ago, we made an infographic called the inbound marketing process. In reality, what that was our way of trying to understand the inbound marketing process. And we're visual people, so we laid it out as an infographic. And then we basically sent it to HubSpot and said, is this correct? And they said, not only is it correct, but if you make it more like a traditional infographic, really, really long, we'll put that in our blog for you. So it was on our blog, went in their blog. Pinterest had just come out around the same time, and it just blew up, and we had thousands and thousands of shares because it was a unique, really strong piece of content back 4.5 years ago that got us a lot of awareness, a lot of exposure, and I actually know I've gotten at least 3 clients directly because of that one infographic. So so that's kind of the way you should be thinking about link building. It's making sure you have a presence on really strong sites. Again, there's a lot of ways you can do link building. These are 2 like the simplest ways, but building strong awareness on sites that are relevant, that your target audience would hang out, and good quality sites that will give you some authority, and just creating content that people will share. So we have another person on here. I'm going to show in the broadcast. Danea, let's see. And Danea, you might be muted. Let's see if I can unmute you here. And am I saying your name correctly? Is it Danea?
It's Danea. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good afternoon.
Hello. My question is centered around social media. I have 3 of my top picks that I'm using right now. So that's Facebook, that's LinkedIn, and that's Twitter.
Okay.
Do you have any? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Are you focused on attracting businesses, or in fact focused on attracting consumers?
Both. And
Okay.
my question is centered around unique content. You keep bringing that up, and I know that's something that we need to work on here. I'm currently helping my company redesign their site, and one of the things we want to bring about is a blog, and we need that unique content. Right now, our social media drive is doing well. it was just a couple of people here and there, but now it's really increased. But we're going to be stagnant in a minute. I can see it heading in that direction because we don't have any unique content. So if you have any thoughts towards that about things we could possibly be doing better, right now we're kind of relinking to other companies in our field, and I just wanted to know what your thoughts were around that.
So tell me a little bit more about your company first. So what do you guys do, and who
insurance.
You focus on? Insurance, okay.
Yes.
And so automotive insurance, business insurance?
It's employee benefits and risk management.
Employee benefits and risk management, okay. So that sounds very B2B. What's the B2C side?
That hasn't clearly been defined.
Okay.
It's kind of something that was thought about but not really given much thought past a kind of a surface level. So it's kind of something that we're doing a deeper dive with right now. So as I'm talking to you, we're trying to define that. Gotcha.
Okay, so you're in a very competitive space, and but you're also in a kind of a local space as well. So LinkedIn probably makes a lot of sense for you.
Yes.
And I think one of the ways I would approach is to how many agents do you guys have working for you?
Maybe about 50.
About 50, okay. And I imagine they're all out there just selling. Some of them are probably good at LinkedIn. Some of them probably aren't.
Yes.
Well, to get the most out of LinkedIn with them, one of the first things I would do is make sure that you put together a very strong training for them.
Okay.
You want to make sure all your agents are very strong on LinkedIn. They know how to prospect. They know how to follow up. They know all the how to set their profile, and they have content in terms of, even if it's just description content about the company, that they can put it on there and make their bios look very strong. The things that should be in their personal bios that they should be putting out there. Standards for pictures. So many times it's be bios with like missing pictures and one connection and no skills. And that's one of the first things I would do.
Okay.
And then that just helps expand your reach. And then obviously you're talking about content. And again, I guess I would probably fit in as being maybe your target persona as well. So I can start thinking about some of the questions I have. I always wonder, do I have the right benefits for my team? Am I at par? So if you put together maybe a research report of maybe 1,000 small to mid-sized businesses and what their benefits packages look like for their teams. And maybe other information about stages, how you should be thinking about this. When you're small and you can't afford anything, here are some of the basic things that you should be doing. Maybe here are some resources that help you get started with these benefits, and maybe how you can scale your benefits over time. These would all be things that I know would help me. And now that you have this big network of all these agents using LinkedIn, you might be able to use a tool like Hootsuite or Gaggleamp.
I'm already there. I'm on Hootsuite right now.
Awesome. And do you have access to everyone's profile to be sharing your content?
No, not yet, and that's mostly because it centers around what the first thing you said, where people still need to work on their profiles. They aren't really up to par as they should be.
Yeah, so one of the things that we use here is a tool called Gaggleamp. And what it does is everyone's LinkedIn profiles are all hooked up to it. So we have all 25 employees of Impact are all hooked up to it. And Ramona, who does all of our marketing for us, she'll take a select piece of the content and she'll put it in the Gaggleamp, and what it'll do is it'll actually drip out, so it doesn't happen all at once. It might happen over the course of a day or two. All the different profiles will then be sharing the content. So the marketing team has control of it, but it's the content they want to be putting out. So that's a simple hack for you that might help.
Very good.
Something like this too might be helpful. I'm not sure how big your contact database is. But if you have 50 agents, I imagine you probably have a lot of contacts in your database.
It's quite a bit of content, quite a bit of contacts, but it's a lot of word of mouth referrals. So I'm trying to get us out of strictly being just word of mouth, although that's not a bad thing, but trying to reach clients and a lot of potential clients, because while we have a good contact list, we want to grow that, obviously.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to use other avenues to make that possible.
Okay, so when we're looking at the funnel, so I'm hearing it's much more important to attract new people into the
Mhm.
funnel than it
Mhm.
is to nurture the people that are there that aren't already buying from you.
And that's not necessarily more important. It's just as important.
Okay. Okay, so if we're going to say let's talk about the people that are already in your database and nurture them to become customers,
Mhm.
things like what I'm doing right now would be a great way to email your list and say, why don't you engage with one of our agents, and here are some of the talking points for today
Mhm.
that we're going to be talking about. I'm happy to answer any questions. Obviously, the privacy policy, anything you talk about is I'm just trying to help, and you guys know what you can and can't say.
Right.
But attracting, I think, again, goes back to some of that really, really good content. The same thing we were talking about before with Cameron is, finding ways to get, guest contribution posts onto trade publications or any big media already has an audience where your target prospects might be.
Mhm.
Are you focused very regional? You focus very local? Which one is it?
It's regional.
It's regional.
So we're based out of Ohio, and I don't see us going outside of there, but we could.
Okay.
I mean, it's the potential of that being a possibility, so we definitely we don't want to ignore it.
Okay.
And we just really want to build momentum, and then once we have that momentum, then what do we do with it? So we just want to make sure we're doing things correctly.
Sure. So I think that the easiest way of looking at that too is try, all the local chambers of commerces
Mhm.
or any other business associations that are in that area, possibly reaching out to them and saying, how can I help you guys more? How can I help your businesses more? Here are 3 things I think I could do to help your audience. Here's an article I wrote specifically for you that you can
Okay.
share to your members that I think would be highly beneficial.
Okay.
And as you start building that relationship and you share their content,
Mhm.
it's just going to give you more exposure in the area. Uh,
Mhm.
and again, if you're writing really good content and they're sharing it, their members might share it as well.
Okay.
Um, that's another tactic that you can also think about is creating content for people to share.
Mhm.
You can write a blog article or write, it could be a PDF
Mhm.
around if you have a friend that owns a business and they're not protected, send them this.
Right.
In those ways.
Okay.
I always tell a story of a smashing, which is a conference,
Mhm.
and they wanted, developers all want to go to it, but the developers don't buy.
Mhm.
So the way to kind of look at this is they had a PDF that they sent out to all of the developers that work for my company, and it said, if you're having trouble convincing your boss to send you here, send this PDF. And it was
Mhm.
titled 8 Reasons to Send Your Incredibly Hardworking and Talented Developer to the Smashing Conference.
Nice. Okay.
So I saw it earlier in the day, and then sure enough, a few hours later, a couple of them ended up in my mailbox.
Mhm.
And and they're saying, hey, I want to go to this conference, and here's some reasons to send me.
Right.
So that's another way of looking at it. So
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
All right. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any other questions, just put it in the questions and answers, and I will bring it back up.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. Broadcast. There we go. Yes, I'm sorry, Cameron. You asked what was that tool again? It was GagLamp, and GagLamp is a tool where you could actually drip messages out from everyone on your team. So if you have people selling for you, it might be a good tool for you to use as well. All right, you got it. So let's see here. I was just told by my internal team to check my internal messaging. So I'm going to look at that in a second. What else do we have here for questions? 1 second here. So Ramona was saying buffer. Buffer is the industry standard, buffer. So I'm going to assume that also goes Ramona, send me a message. What do you want me to say on buffer? And while you're doing that, I'm going to take another question here. We have Nick Cook, and he asks, what's the best way to integrate landing pages into the sales and marketing funnel? Thank you. Oh boy, okay, there's a lot of different options here. So the way to think about landing pages, and Nick, if you want to send me your email, I can invite you in. If you want a dialogue here, just use the same questions and answers tool and send that in. But the best way to think about landing pages, we use them for getting people that come to our site for the first time and getting them to convert, become a lead in our system. So they fill out a form, they become a lead in our system or a contact in our system, whether they're qualified or not. And usually by filling out that form, they get some kind of offer. So it could be access to a webinar or registering for an event, you get free access to downloading an ebook or other great premium content offers. So so that's the idea here is to get people to that have come to our site and get them to convert. So when you're saying to integrate into sales and marketing funnel, so really super top of the funnel, I guess before I even talk about that, you're going to take your buyer persona. So this is the person that you're trying to attract. You got their behaviors, know what they care about, their goals, their challenges. You understand them. That's basically why we have personas, so we can understand the person that we're trying to attract with our marketing. Every buyer persona has a journey that they go along. We call it the buyer journey. And usually there's 3 core stages of that. The first one is the awareness stage. Then they have the consideration stage. Then they have the decision stage. So at the awareness stage, usually you're trying to get them to give you their information in a very low risk way, and you use landing pages or premium content offers to really, really attract them and make them want to convert and give you their information in exchange for something. So your offer has to be really remarkable, really helpful, and really apply to most people that come to your website. And the more it helps your target audience opposed to anyone else, the more qualified leads you'll receive. So that's really the awareness stage. Once you get down to the consideration stage, it depends on older inbound marketing. We probably didn't have as much tracking technology as we used to. So we would ask people to convert again. So it might have some what we consider more middle of the funnel type offers. And that might be webinars like what we're on today, where you get a lot of qualified people. It could be prospects on the phone or on the video. And it's still low risk, and it's not really a sales call, but it's in the middle of the funnel. So we'd ask people to register for that. So you might be having people register for a webinar or something along those lines. Other middle of funnel content you see tends to be like case studies and demos, low risk things like that. But it's not really stuff you want to gate. So you might not want to use a landing page for that type of content because you're actually blocking it from people. You can imagine your persona comes to your site and saying, I'm not going to fill out a form to look at one of your case studies. That stuff should be ungated. And then as you look at landing pages down at the bottom of the funnel, a little bit more like, not super decision like I'm going to buy from you, but I want to enter a sales process with you. So you want to have a very strong landing page around what that bottom of the funnel type offer might be. A free trial or a request a consultation, request an on-site visit, request an estimate or a quote. These are all types of things that it's the action that we all know we want people doing when they come to our site. We want them to come to our site and we want them to end up doing this. So that's usually what we consider as a bottom of the funnel offer. You're usually going to have a landing page for that as well. So that's kind of like landing pages at all different areas. So really the super high top of the funnel, getting people to fill out the form. I didn't even mention like blog subscribers. So if you have really good content, just getting people to subscribe to that, that's super top of the funnel. Great way to get new contacts in your database. More middle of the funnel, so be more video, a little bit more interaction, personal type content. They're starting to really build a relationship with your brand, your company. and at the bottom would be request a consultation. So I hope that helped. Nick, I'm happy to dialogue with you. If you want to send me your email address, and I will invite you in. And we have some things going on Twitter here. So let me get to that a little bit. Let's see. All right, Jennifer Kern on Twitter. Can you speak about lead nurturing programs? We have a lot of great content, challenges upgrading readers to premium products. All right. I'm looking at your Twitter profile, Jennifer. I'm not trying to creep on you too much, but I don't see what you do. So I'm going to have to talk a little bit high level here. Again, if you want to go into the questions and answer pane and supply me your email address, that would be a way I can maybe invite you in here if you're able to do that, and we can dialogue about this. Before I talk about workflows, also want to remind everybody the same thing. You can be invited in and be live just like Cameron and Danae was, and we can dialogue and go a little bit deeper into what you're trying to accomplish. Or you can ask a question on Twitter, ask a question in the questions and answer pane. Other ways to get questions out, we've had a couple of those already. And or you can just watch and just enjoy. And just as a disclaimer, anyone might be tuning a little bit late, this is the first one we're doing, so please consider us the beta. We're still testing some things out. I think it's going pretty well and having a lot of fun. And of course, after this, if you want to talk to me a little bit more personal, feel free to do that. Go to our website, impactbnd.com, and hit the orange Talk to Us button, and just make sure you mention that you want to talk to me, and we'll set up an appointment after this. And of course, we'll talk about Twitter. The hashtag is right over my shoulder here, ImpactAMA. Great. So going back to Twitter and going back to Jennifer's question, can we talk about workflows? So I'm sorry, talk about lead nurturing programs. So we talked a little bit about the buyer journey, and when we talk about lead nurturing, it's all about getting people to move through their journey to the next stage. Again, we have to focus on the persona. We have to think about the end user. So we really want to understand the actions that they've taken already and what would be the logical next step. Somebody that, using, I don't know who, your industry is, Jennifer, unfortunately, but using us a little bit, one of the best ways to look at it is, someone that's downloading, marketing for Pinterest, that I'm not going to want to nurture them to, request an inbound marketing consultation with me, especially if they had no other interactions with my brand. They came to my website, maybe read an article on Pinterest, download a Pinterest ebook. The next step shouldn't be me pushing them to a sales conversation. So by understanding your persona and the next logical steps, that's what lead nurturing is all about. I tend to believe that there might be a little misconception that lead nurturing is just emails, although that's a very popular method when we use that here at Impact. It's not just sending emails. It's exactly what I said. It's helping your prospects and contacts move to the next level of their buyer journey, however you do that. It could be via social media, it could be via content, it could be, again, email is very popular, it could be offline things like other activities. It's moving people through. Google had a stat that said the average, and I'm going to probably butcher this, it's off the top of my head, so forgive me on this. The average prospect will consume 10 pieces of content before deciding to hop on the phone and enter a sales process with you. And also, it's very known that 67% of the sales process happens before even talking to somebody. So that's really all what lead nurturing really is. So you have people subscribe to your blog. You want to engage them, and again, they're in that awareness stage. So you want to trickle in a little bit of what they could be doing, common problems and how other people solve them, and again, think about the persona stuff that they would actually open up and convert and stay engaged and consume with. maybe they read a couple of pieces of content along that. So once you have them nurtured to that stage, but again, you can get them via social, get them via emails, however you can to keep them engaged so that they're understanding more of that. Give them options if they want to get lower in the funnel. Maybe they're consuming information off your site and they're very educated already, so they still have options to move through the funnel. That's why we put calls to action on our homepage and other parts of our website, so they can move faster if they want. But we're nurturing them. We want to give them really good, helpful information that they'll really enjoy. If we see that they're spending a lot of time in that area, where it's here's some common problems people have and how they've solved them, you might want to get to that next stage where how we've helped people like you overcome those problems. So now we know what those problems are. How can we help you overcome that? And here's some of the solutions that we offer, and here's some of our key differentiators and why we're better than anyone else, or why we're your best option, but not in such a pitchy way, but really proving that with the stories and things that you've done, making this very real for somebody to say, you know what, that's exactly what I need. And that's how you know you're doing a really good job nurturing, especially if they start off, they had no idea where you were, they came across a blog post, they liked it, they stayed a little bit engaged with your brand, they read some more content, and then you got them to that point where it's like, that's exactly where I need, and I want to talk to you. And that's where things like maybe videos like this, again, I keep going back to the videos like this, are super helpful, but you guys are experiencing our brand and understanding what we're all about, and seeing, maybe Bob can help me, and that's where you want to be for your prospects and customers. So continue with that, and then obviously the ultimate goal is to get those, once people are engaged with that type of content, they might be saying, that's exactly what I need. It's pushing them past that finish line. Sometimes you have to ask for the business. We kind of have to ask them to take that step and set that appointment or start that demo or whatever else that you want them to do. All right, so that's the way I kind of think about lead nurturing. And of course, there's tools that help with that. We prefer HubSpot, and HubSpot, you can use their workflows tool to do the email and actually some other parts of lead nurturing as well. But again, a misconception, workflows is not just for lead nurturing, and lead nurturing is not just emails. You got to really think lead nurturing is kind of a methodology, and there's a science behind it. It's the idea of moving people through the funnel. Workflows is a tool that does a lot of different things, automates a lot of marketing processes, and you can use that to do some lead nurturing. Okay. Great. I'm going to go back to Twitter here and see if there are any more questions. David Dodd, he asked, what are your thoughts of locked web pages that require visitors to like or follow before registering for free or free ebook? Great question. We don't do enough of that here at Impact, and that probably gives you my idea of what I think of it. Maybe not like, I don't know. I think I like both. I think you can get people to follow or like the page on Facebook, so that you get a new subscriber, social subscriber essentially. But I also like when you have to share it. I might retract a little bit, but to share the content before getting it, that's a little hard because you're endorsing the content without actually seeing it. So maybe not that, but liking the brand or following on Twitter, I like it. It's just like gating. And I think as marketers, that's what it's all about. We're trying to get people to want to take action and enter our sales and marketing funnel or become a contact in our database. And a follower or subscriber on social media is another way of doing that. It's help expand your reach. And if the offer is really good, it's kind of a fair deal, right? Hey, we're going to give you all this great information. We're going to give you access to this amazing video or this awesome content offer. But all we're going to ask you to do is just subscribe. I think that's really fair. Another way we're doing that here at Impact, if you haven't seen it yet, we put together an offer called 16 Inbound Marketing Experts in 2016. And we had a bunch of people in the industry, Brian Halligan, David Raymond Scott, Marcus Sheridan, some other people from our organization. And we put together, our predictions for next year. And we're gating that by saying, download it in exchange for subscribing to our blog. I think it's the same thing. Just one's on social media and one becomes a contact in our database that subscribes to our blog. So I like it. I think it's a pretty good idea. Great question though, David. I really like that one. Unless I'm missing anything, I think. Let's see. Those are the top tweets. Let's see if I'm missing any questions under live or the hashtag. Again, I'm going to click over to questions and answers here. Am I missing anything? Nick wrote back that he found that helpful. I think I'm out of questions. Does anyone else want to hop back in, use the questions and answers? If not, we'll probably get ready to wrap this up. I'll give it a quick second here. You can use the hashtag ImpactAMA. I can see if anyone's tweeted directly at me. No questions. Just gonna give it another minute to see if anything else comes in here. This is a lot of fun. Okay. Well, that looks like that's it. I really appreciate everyone tuning in today. I hope this is helpful. I hope to do more of these on at least maybe a monthly basis. Again, consider this one a beta. If you want to follow up with me after on anything we talked about, feel free to go to our website, hit the orange Talk to Us button, and reach out and just say you want to talk to me, and we'll set up a time to talk about this. So everyone have a very wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk soon. Take care.